I've been stung by a scorpion. Oh, I felt that. Wanted to believe in fairy tales, my bad. I shut it down fast track. Fight for love, see attack when they down, push back. Yeah, the word down.
What's up, everyone?
Everyone's been down for you. Buckets of ice for the night when no one's really there for you. I was really down for you. Like it when they get hood tough. Flash the titties as a hood up. Rapping BK, that's my hood what. Turn a love land to a hood fuck.
Hi, everyone. We're talking about the Gemini North Node in 2021.
Who holds it down like no one? Sets you as good as me. No one, no one, no one, no one, no one. Who got your back like me? No one. Sets you as good as me. No one, no one, no one. Okay. No one, no one.
I've been around the block a few times, had a few dimes. Some of them was more like nickels. Tried to tell me love was blind, couldn't make up their mind, so I figured out love was fickle. Till I met you, I ain't give a fuck what I do. Yeah.
Let me know, where is Gemini in your natal chart? Where's Gemini in your natal chart?
Heart cold like an icicle, felt your effect like a nice ripple. Made a nigga smile, exposing my dimple. Had to feed the pussy, no bits, no dribbles. Pull up on your ass, no pass, no dribble. Ain't ask no questions, ain't pass no riddles. If love was the battlefield, I was in the middle. I was going through a trial for a while, no acquittal. And I'm still around. A lot of other niggas would have skipped town. Stand by my words, how I get down. Turn a hit a smile to a big frown. Thinking I'm not gonna ride with you, baby. If you going down, I'ma die with you, baby. If you take off, I'ma fly with you, baby. Another man do it like me, you crazy. Who holds it down like me? No one. Who wears the crown like me? No one. No one. No one. No one. No one. Who got your back like me? No one. Sex you like that but me? No one. No one. No one.
All right, y'all. All right, so I have shared all the links to the places that people need to go so that they can tune into today's video. And I'm really excited to talk to you guys about the Gemini North Node conjunct Mars. It's quite a doozy of a transit. Let me know if you guys can hear me clearly since I was just playing the music. And just to make sure that everything is, all the audio is coming in well. Okay. So if you are tuning in, whether you're watching the full live or the replay, just shoot me a note down below in the comments. Let me know, where is Gemini in your chart, okay? Which means you may not have your sun in Gemini, but Gemini might be in a certain house, right? You might have certain planets in Gemini. All of this is important in understanding how the Gemini North Node and Mars conjunction is going to be playing out for you. So just let a sister know. And I'm just checking my live audio right now, make sure it is working. Because if it's not, then we got to start over. Yes, it's working. Okay, great. All right, so Gemini North Node, this is going to be, actually, it's already happening. The Gemini North Node is conjunct Mars, right? It's right now within 2 degrees of each other. So things are wilding out right now in the area of fresh new ideas. If you guys understand the air signs, Gemini is new air. Okay, it's new trends. It's like the beginning of when a trend is starting to bud, and then it takes off, right? Then we move into Libra. Libra's air is like current air, right? So Libra is, what is the trend of today, right? What is the trend that is currently happening? It's present, it's right now air. That's Libra air. And then Aquarius air is old air, okay? Aquarius is the trends, the trends of what has already known to be trendy, the trends of the past, basically. Aquarius can utilize what it knows about what works in order to make progress. So we have three different types of air. And so when we look at Gemini air, we're looking at the planting, right, in the spring season of new ideas. Okay. So with the North Node and Mars coming together, Mars is a planet of action. Mars is a planet of sexual drive, libido. It's a planet of adrenaline. It's the planet of ruling over your muscles, right? But when it's in the air sign, right, it becomes more about spitting fire. And actually, that's actually probably the title that I should name this, spitting fire, because now all of the activity, the activity of Mars, the assertion and the aggression of Mars comes with Gemini, which is new air. So this is a chance for you to express yourself in a way that people may not have known before, right? It's a way to be authentic, right? As well as a messenger, Gemini. It's a way to deliver your message in a new and exciting way. It's a way to deliver new messages, right? It's also polarizing, as Gemini is the twin. So what you have to say might really be something that not everybody likes. And also learning how to do that. With Mars being here, you're more capable of doing that, especially if you have a lot of air Libra, right? Because Libra air is more socially social etiquette, right? Where Gemini is not. Gemini and Libra both communicate, are both communicators, but Gemini's energy is not as much, it's a baby energy, so it's not about pleasing other people. So with Mars here, Mars is going to help you even more so to kind of let go of that need to please other people, and really just speak from that place of, this is what I really believe, this is who I really am, this is what I'm really doing, and it's fresh and it's new air. Abiding by this energy, all right, because you can abide by it and you can resist it. And if you want to be really technical, you look at your chart and you see if you have any planets in the mutable signs, right? Or if you have any planets in Virgo, I'm not Virgo, sorry, planets in Sagittarius. So planets in the mutable signs or planets in Sagittarius. If you have any planets in those mutable signs, right? So let's go through the mutable signs. It's Gemini, it's Virgo, it is Sagittarius, and it is Pisces. So if you have any planets in the mutable signs, or if you have planets in Sag specifically, then this is a more resistant energy. It will be something that you will have to learn how to overcome under some sort of pressure. Okay. If you have planets in the air signs, and this might be more harmonious energy in which you are able to kind of ride the wave because you're naturally tuned to it. If you have planets in Gemini, this is a chance for you to come out and really be your truest self, right? So with that being said, the resistance might be about being scared about not about social norms, social etiquette, and social status, and how that having new information could allow certain titles that you have, certain friendships that you have, certain people that have supported you and love you, how it can challenge them because you're bringing out some sort of truth that is not necessarily something that you've done before or something that you just have never said before. So if you have challenging aspects, that is how one of the ways that the resistance might be coming through, right? And so you may be less willing to speak up, less willing to express yourself, less willing to put something out into the world that would be your true authentic self. And so it's up to you to figure out how to merge it so that you can ride this energy. Right now, if you have harmonious aspects to it, like I said, in the air signs, then this is something that you may have more of the capability to also uh, take on a new trend, create a new trend. It's not that the resistant signs may not be able to create the new trend, but it's just a lot easier if you are naturally attuned to your air energy. So if you are and you have planets in any of the air signs, then you're going to be more capable of taking advantage of creating a new trend without having to overcome something or deal with social status or anything like that. Um, so both aspects give you a chance to plant something new that could really take off. Mars is, like I said, Mars next to Gemini North Node is spitting fire. So this is about speaking, writing, publishing, and expressing yourself in the most authentic way. Okay. Um, so let's talk about the North Node energy, because when we look at North Node transits globally, or just North Node transits in general, because the North Node is moving, right? It stays in a sign within every 12 to 18 months. We always have this idea of moving destiny with the transiting North Node, right? So basically, you have your own personal destiny that you have in your natal chart, but the moving destiny is also something you can take advantage of, because you understand the weather of the astrology, right? So right now we are dealing with a south node in Sagittarius and a north node in Gemini. So what this means is that we have been abiding by a lot of Sagittarian principles for a while, probably since the last time the north node was in Gemini, right? So we've been dealing with a lot of Sagittarian principles. So now that the north node is in Gemini, we're releasing a lot of Sagittarian principles and obtaining what is unfamiliar. So, what it's really saying globally, universally, is that Gemini energy is right now the most unfamiliar that we need to partake in and utilize, because that's the North destiny, right? So, universally, really tied up in our beliefs, right? Because of Sagittarius, really tied up in exploring and having the escapism to travel and experience new things. And we can even see on a physical level that with all of the stuff that has happened over the last year, how traveling has actually gone down, how people are not, getting on planes or cars or even trains right now because of, the circumstances at hand. And the South Node in Sagittarius actually mirrors that really beautifully in showing that it's a time where we need to be more invested in our local communities. Gemini also naturally rules over the third house, which is your neighborhood, your local community. Now, if you have Gemini in a certain house different than the third house, then it will mean something else. We will go through that shortly, actually. I'll go through all the signs, but just in general, Sagittarius is traveling out into the world, out across countries, out over land, and Gemini is walking down the block. I live in New York City, so I walk down the block. But for you, some of you guys, you might drive down the block, right? But where you would go locally. So, welcome everyone. Hello. We have a Sagittarius with a Libra moon and rising. Woohoo! So, Mars and Gemini is hitting ninth house with the North Node and Aquarius in the fifth house. Beautiful. Okay. So that also means that the current North Node is in your ninth house. All right. So how do we relate to our birth North Node in conjunction with the transiting North Node, right? Um, First, you want to see, well, do they have any relationship with each other that might be challenging? So, for instance, with the comment here, this one is actually harmonious. Mars is in Gemini, an air sign, hitting. So the North Node in Gemini is in her ninth house, and her North Node, her natal North Node, is in Aquarius, another air sign. So when you're looking at the transiting and you're looking at your natal North Node, how do the North nodes match each other? In this example, the North Node is harmonious with her natal North Node, which is almost like go, green light, go, right? And then if you have any sort of challenging aspects from your natal North Node to the transiting natal North Node, it might be reevaluate, reconsider, how do I integrate? Whenever you have challenging aspects, it's like, how do I integrate? It's not how do I escape it, but how do I integrate? Yada, yada, yada. I know that the technical stuff can be a little daunting, even with the language. So I'll do my best to keep it as simple as possible. But yeah, so the North Node of Gemini is big on writing, expressing yourself. So, what is it that you have right now? What is it that you have right now that you really want to say, but maybe you're scared of what that could look like? Maybe you are having some fears about how people would react to you and see you. Maybe they would misunderstand you because of this. Well, this is actually the chance to clear it up, because Gemini is the communicator, it is the talker. So this is a chance to actually clear up and clarify any sort of misunderstandings in your life. And you really want to go towards integrating and confronting misunderstandings versus the Sagittarius energy, which is just like all is good, being staying in the light, staying optimistic, right? Sagittarius is actually the high positive mind. Sagittarius rules over the looking at things from an objective point of view. Sagittarius rules over just these ideas of a little bit of escapism, and not needing to deal with the lower sides of things, the negative points of views and minds, right? People who have certain sort of like maybe even like mental bipolar or things like that. This axis is one of the axes, Sag and Gemini, where we are looking at mental clarity, mental comprehension, mental health. Because of the polarizing negative mindset of Gemini versus the high mindset of Sagittarius, and both have tendencies to be mentally off because of the imbalance that can create here if you're too one-sided and being strongly optimistic and kind of blind to the negative, or you're too one-sided and being so much in the negative that you can't access the happiness and optimism. So this is something that we want to look at when we look at our lives. And maybe you're not diagnosed with anything, some people are, and this is a chance for them to really look at what they need, which polarity are they leaning more towards with anything. It's still something to understand that we all have the tendency to go, right? It's almost like we separate from the two opposing points of views. Should I focus on my negativity, my problems, and fix them, or should I just be happy and play to my strengths and party and just enjoy life? And they actually both need to be, as a Libra rising, I'm going to say they both need to be balanced. So that's my conclusion. Maybe not letting it go forever. It's not about that we can't go back to those things during the transit. It's in Vedic, and I'll get to that too because I do both. But when we're talking about we focus on going towards the north, and we focus on releasing the south node, detaching south node, because the south node is detached. It is about what is familiar, right? It is more of a spiritual bonding, right? So what it really means is that we've leaned so much into this long speech thing, like this long, like Sagittarian preacher sermon thing where people are just really like, focusing on what they have to say, because Sagittarius is a penetrator of ideas. It's very masculine energy, and we all utilize this, in like something like this. This is very Sagittarian for me because I'm very much so speaking the whole time. I do have the comments where I can go back and forth, so that takes a little bit out of it. But the whole idea of the Sagittarius energy is like you're at the church, you're in the congregation, and the preacher is preaching to you, right? Is penetrating you with their ideas, and there's not as much of an interaction unless they call for it to be. That's Sagittarius. So really one of the things that we're also going towards is listening and really practicing how to listen, really practicing on how to have a conversation with people, right? That in which you're receiving what they're having to say. So this also goes towards Gemini energy, where we're asking more questions. And I wrote the other day on my Facebook, like, when we get into arguments or bickering, right? How many times have we just stopped and just been like, before arguing your point on why you're right, and you'll be like, yeah, I get that, or no, you're wrong, or whatever, and then you just go right into your own spiel. Where is it that you might need to stop and just be like, okay, let me just understand what you're trying to say first. Are you saying this and this, and where did you come from that idea, and why are you so more of this comprehension and understanding in the Gemini energy, because Gemini is a curious energy. It asks questions, it's investigative. It's the student versus Sagittarius, the teacher. So it's this idea of like, why? Explain to me this, that. And I think that that's very powerful. Actually, me and my husband, we are very fiery. Even though he's a Pisces, he has a lot of Aries, and so we have often had these conversations where we're just fire, a lot of fire, just going back and forth. But just recently, my husband, like, he just stopped and just started asking me questions, and the power of the stopping and asking questions also allows the other person to feel like they are being heard, because you can say something, but did the person really understand? Did they really get your point of view? Because we all have filters, we all have things that we filter when people say things to us, and it doesn't always um resonate the way that they intended. Learning process and really trying to comprehend and understand things as well. So there's a lot of layers to this. But the idea in understanding Gemini principles versus Sagittarius principles is that we're moving more towards embodying this Gemini energy so that we can have that, be more prominent right now and be more familiar to us. And it's just not familiar. We've really been more heavy on Sagittarius, a lot of preaching, a lot of teaching, and not enough comprehension and interaction, which I think really leads to beautifully toward this new kind of phase that I'm in personally about understanding the mind and the thoughts that we have. And sometimes we can really like sign up and believe in our thoughts, right? We could really sign up and believe in this mind that is made and created for us to judge things so that we can survive. And sometimes the mind reminds us of things that we need to be fearful of because it wants you to survive, right? So when we sign up for all the thoughts that we have in our mind, when we sign up for all of these, ideas, and then we want to go out and preach it and teach it, sometimes we also need to look at, are these thoughts real? You need to question yourself. Are my thoughts real for me, or are my thoughts really just trying to help me protect myself? Is my brain really trying to just protect me from feeling hurt again, from feeling certain things before I go out and preach and teach? So you can embody Gemini and Sagittarius in sort of that way, right? You may still be a teacher, you may still be someone who is doing what I'm doing, where you're mainly just talking. But I might want to ask myself a few questions. Like today, I asked myself in a Gemini energy before I went to teach, right? Is okay, do I really want to do this topic? And what is it about this topic that I'm the most passionate about? Because I want to be authentically sharing. Where is it that I feel like I'm trapped, or things like that? So you're utilizing Gemini as a priority. You're asking questions to yourself, you're asking questions to the people you're talking to. And I promise you that when you go towards your, this is why now, when you go towards your North Node, because you're like, well, what can I gain from doing this? You are going to open up doors and opportunities that you just had never seen before because you weren't in the practice of the magic of the zodiac sign Gemini. And every single zodiac sign provides for you certain sort of magic. And I'll tell you, some of the magic that we've been missing with Gemini is people having their own, like, platform where they can truly you know, uh, take off on their own ideas, be their own media person, be their own producer, be their own, radio host and things like that. Now, there are people who are out there doing it, but where on a universal level could we all kind of do that? Um, so we've got a Gemini moon in the house, Gemini in the seventh house, um, Gemini moon in the seventh house. Beautiful. I'm going to go through the houses in just a second, and we'll cover them briefly as well. So, yeah, you have the opportunity to gain Gemini abilities, which is the ability to express yourself authentically, the ability to be open, right? The ability to let go of secrets, because Gemini is not a secret holder, right? So, secrets might be something that needs to come out at this time, because why would people trust somebody who is holding back? You know what I'm saying? So it may not be, oh, tell your dirtiest secret, but like, what are the things that you've been voiding in your conversations? What are the things that you've been voiding that are not allowing you to really be seen as who you are and seen as authentic? That's something that people can trust and feel secure about. This is where you're going to showcase your Gemini energy, right? Um, And so what we're releasing is Sagittarius, the need to escape into traveling and seeing the world and not dealing with people and conversations, not really trying to listen, just trying to do their own thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that we've been very heavy on Sag. So we have to just really kind of lean more or choose more of the Gemini energy to help you open those doors, to help you see things that you haven't seen before, to help you see where you haven't been authentic. Okay. The Gemini energy will also help a lot of us to connect with our siblings, connect with our extended family, connect with, our neighbors. These are some of the role players that will be playing itself out. Okay. Now, the last thing that I want to say before I go into the house systems, greetings, everyone, greetings, peace and love, is when Mars, the assertiveness, Mars goes near North Node, Gemini, North Node in Gemini. This is also sexual energy. And, I've been picking this up big time on the ideas and concepts of what is sexy in life. And when we apply to astrology, I've seen a lot of astrologers say things like, well, who is the most sexiest zodiac sign? That's cool. I'm not trumping them all the way. But here comes my Gemini moon sharing my authentic expression, which is that, it's a very socio-political stance to say, like, oh, one zodiac sign is sexier than the others. Most people choose Scorpio because it actually rules over the genitals. And so people are naturally attuned to the stereotypical idea that Scorpio is the most sexual sign. And some of these people have not everything on the internet. Don't even believe me if you don't want to. But speaking of Mars, sexy energy with Gemini, if you are not in tune with the intellectual side of sexuality, then this will be a challenge for you because Mars showcases its aggression in one of two ways. Also, creativity, sexual expression and creativity are hand in hand, right? Or aggression and anger. Boom. So if you are not in tune with the sexual nature of Gemini energy, then you might be dealing with certain aggression and anger. Let's talk about the aggression and anger that often showcases with Gemini energy, right? Because we are dealing with Rahu North Node. And while I'm saying that you need to go towards the North Node and prioritize certain things, it also, Mars and North Node is also extremely intense energy because the North Node is very hungry. It's a dragon's head. It wants what it wants, right? And Mars pushes the North Node to get what it wants. This is why Eastern practices actually say focus on the South Node, focus on what you're releasing, focus on what you're detaching from versus what you want, right? And this is a different mindset. So while both systems, Eastern and Western, both agree that the North Node is where we're going to and the South Node is what we're releasing, the Western says go towards what you're going to, focus on what you're going to. And the Eastern beliefs are more like focus on what you're releasing, right? So you can incorporate both, right? But the reason why you really just want to look out is because the Eastern practice is very much right about the idea that this North Nodal energy can have you very miserable if you're really trying to do it, if you're really going towards it and you're falling apart. So this balance is necessary, and Mars is going to attack it as well. And Mars is angry in Gemini and starts to gossip and starts to slander and it starts to, take people out with their words, starts to criticize. It's like the jokester, the comedian, the dark comedian who's like, right? Because Mars is the god of war, right? So Mars will take you out with their words. They can make funny jokes about you. They can talk about you. They can, you know what I'm saying? This is where that starts to happen. So beware and watch out because within you, you might be more of having the tendency to do it. And with the people in your life might have more of the tendency to do it as well as Mars is getting stronger here in Gemini's energy. Now, when we talk about the opposite of the anger, right? So we've got the angry version of Mars conjunct the Gemini North Node, and it's like, spitting fire, scandal, gossip, just angry words, right? Unless you're asking questions, like we talked about, if you start asking questions, that will really take some of the angry conversations out. But now let's look at the sexual nature, which a lot of people who glorify only a scorpionic way of sexy, right? Or an Aries way of sexy, right? And it makes sense because Mars rules over sex. So Mars is going to, want to see itself as as the strongest in its sign, Scorpio and Aries. And we often glorify those signs the most, right? In Aries, we glorify the way that the body looks because Aries is the adrenal system and the muscular system. So Aries sexuality enjoys the aesthetic of the body and the shape of the body, all masculine energy, by the way. And then when we look at Scorpio, we're looking at the pleasing, the ability to please, to own, to possess over the body, and give pleasure to the body, to understand and know the body, to all of those intense things, right? So those are what are glorified, right? But Mars and Gemini, the reason I'm telling you guys this is because if you tapped more into the Gemini energy of sexual energy, then you can actually avoid confrontations, gossip, and slander, and just focus on your creative and sexual energy, right? So we're just not attuned to the Gemini energy sometimes when it comes to sexual energy. And this is dirty talk, y'all. This is like two minds coming together and believing and operating and working together, and they're just in the synergy of, yeah, like we both think the same way. This is somebody who is extremely turned on by a very intelligent person, right? You're very enlightened, and so those ideas that are coming off into the head and exploding into the head actually really makes somebody excited and turned on. You can turn somebody on through the eyes, you can turn them on through sensual touch, you can turn them on by touching their genitals, Scorpio, but you can also turn them on through the ideas that you're providing for them, the ideas that you're opening the brain on. So Gemini energy is like super nerdy, geeky, like, oh my gosh, like that was like the most smartest thing ever, whatever. So those are certain things that happen. Also, being less emotional in Gemini energy and having fun, being playful, being a trickster, being light about it versus being about it, right? So these are things that also happen creatively that you can utilize with Gemini, North Node, and Mars, avoiding this gossip and slander and anger of Mars, and just being like, yeah, whatever. Like even if it might trigger you a little bit, kind of pushing it into the space of it's all funny, it's all games, it's all not so serious, right? And think of the Joker. Why so serious, son? This happens with Gemini energy, especially in the sexual department. If you want to enjoy Gemini in the bedroom, don't take yourself so seriously. Don't take it so seriously, and that's an aspect of sex and merging together, right? Whether you're having actual physical sex or creating something together, that really can help you in understanding this North Node Mars Gemini energy. Is to not be so wrapped up in how things should be, on what you want and whatnot, and just be light about it. Not necessarily optimistic. You can even still be a little dark, your own little dark comedian, but just be light about it. Allow yourself to let things go. Gemini is a mutable sign. It is about changing and letting things go and just moving on to the next thing. So these are things that can really help in your creativity and in your sexual life. Stimulate the mind, stimulate the intellectual aspect, stimulate the verbs and the words that you use with hot, dirty talk. You know what I'm saying? Send sexy words, word driven, messages to people. Send things that, speak out in a way that allows you to be sexually explicit with your words, with your lyrics, with your poetry, with your writing, with your, any way that you deliver your message. Use the words to do that. The Gemini is the rulership of language. So what also happens here with the aggression of Mars and the North Node is becoming your best translator, right? So you could mix up if you know different languages, mix up your languages. If you're bilingual or whatever, like change it up and showcase that. It's so sexy. Like as a Gemini moon, I love different languages, and I always want to like incorporate saying a different language, when I'm writing certain things, but I just don't. I never feel that comfortable. I feel like people are going to think that I'm trying to be not black or whatever. But I just have an infatuation with language. And I think that hearing like sexy, dirty talk in a different language for me is very exciting, you know? So that's also understanding Gemini energy. It's the translator, it's the language carrier, right? It is the messenger. Everything that has to do with words comes through with Gemini. So I hope that makes a lot of sense. And now let me go through the houses because I want to make sure that everybody will be able to enjoy the message for you with this North Node in Gemini. So first, let's look at when the conjunction will actually happen. And because the North Node is moving backwards, it's going towards Taurus, and Mars is moving forward and it's going towards Cancer, right? They're actually going to cross each other, right? Of course, we know that the North Node is a point in the sky, so it's not a physical object. So it's not actually crossing over Mars, but Mars is more crossing over the North Node. Um, okay, so we are currently at March the 22nd. Happy spring equinox. And Mars is at 0 degrees. Sorry, so Mars is at 10 degrees Gemini, and the North Node is currently at 13, 14 degrees Gemini. Okay, so we are within 2 to 3 degrees of each other, right? So when we look at the actual conjunction, when it will be at its hottest point, let's see, where will that be? Actually, we are in the actual conjunction because once April comes, they're moving even more away from each other. So, yeah, its tightest conjunction will be on this week, the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, and specifically the 25th. The strongest conjunction will happen. The March 22nd to the 27th is the strongest energy of this conjunction. Okay, so this week is the week where everything that we've talked about you can really explore. Now, the Gemini North Node itself continues to stay in Gemini until December of 2021. Okay, Gemini North Node stays until December 2021. So even though Mars will pass over this week, the energies are still going to be pretty prominent, and you can always access them or just understand what's going on even after this week. Okay, so let's start with Aries. Okay, because Aries has Gemini in its third house, speaking specifically from Aries rising. But if you're Aries sun, it's a secondary strong energy, right? And this is naturally where Gemini lives. So for Aries, that third house is going to be where you're more active in the neighborhood. Like I said, Gemini rules over the neighborhood because of that third house, where you're more active with your friends, right? The third house is friends, the 11th house is also friends, but these are like, you know, close kid friends, maybe friends from childhood, or just friends that you see, you know, see a lot more often versus like, you know, friends that you see every year or whatever. So these are going to be those friends that you're really connecting more with. And you're going to be more aggressive around these friendships. Again, remember that Mars is the activation this week. So this week you can be prone to Aries having some explosive conversations with people, or you can choose the path of creativity and sex and really just binding ideas with people, asking questions from these friendships, these neighbors, these local people around you, right? The people who live upstairs, if you're in an apartment building, or downstairs from you, the people who live next door to you, right? These are the people that are going to be major role players this week. Now, Mars also can embody a person. So this could also be one of these people being more cutthroat with their words, more cutting off, more criticizing, or more slanderous, or more comedic, right? Um, and there's also somebody who could embody the North Node. If somebody's embodying the North Node, they will look like somebody who's very ambitious, somebody who is trying to gain success through some sort of writing opportunity, songwriting, songwriting, poetry writing, publishing writing, periodical writing, blog writing. Who writes periodicals anymore? I don't know, but things like that. So that is for Aries. So you guys want to, if you can choose, if you got to have that confrontation, Aries, you're the one who will do it. So I'm not going to tell you to not. And some of us might need to have these confrontations. So I'm not saying to avoid confrontation, even though as a Libra rising, I probably am saying that in a very, sub way. But of course, like you may not be able to avoid some of these confrontations. Aries is one of the types who won't avoid. Okay. So let's move on to Taurus. So if you're Taurus rising, or if you have a Taurus sun, it will be secondary for you. And this is the area that has to do with money. And so you have maybe you've been focusing. I'm sorry, I need to use the Sagittarius South Node as well in these interpretations. Let me just go back to Aries. Aries, you guys have maybe been weighing a lot on maybe some travel plans, maybe been weighing a lot on religious beliefs, cultural conditioning, right? Because we're looking at Sagittarius. That is a South Node, meaning don't forget them. Don't not travel. Don't not do this, but just don't make that the priority. Release and detach from things that are coming through when it comes to cultural conditioning, cultural expectations, socially. Um, Being more in tune with a religion, being more in tune with a faith. Even if you are extremely religious or extremely faithful, you just might want to have that open space of detaching from holding on to it, or detaching from preaching or teaching so much about it, and be more in the space of listening. Okay, so let's move on to Taurus. Taurus, you guys have Sagittarius in your eighth house, so you've focused a lot on combining your resources with somebody else, combining your trust with somebody else, investing in somebody else, allowing somebody else to control your resources. And with the North Node and Mars this week, you're going to be a lot more seeing the need for you to be more about owning in on your own resources, specifically how you're making money. And this might be more of just breaking down your budget. It might be more of looking at, using discernment with how you're spending your money and just seeing it. So it's not, you might want to overspend this week with Mars there, and you might but just knowing where the money is going, where it's coming out, like just having some sort of maybe spreadsheet, you know what I'm saying? That's Gemini, the whole full spreadsheet energy, calculating it down to the T, so you just know where every penny is going. So you have more control over your resources, or just more of a say because you see it more. Some of the you've bought something from somebody and they have not delivered it, something like that. The people who basically anybody who has to do with your money are going to be major role players this week. And since Taurus is a money sign, right, this is going to be an important week for you, and it's not going to be easy. These aspects are not easy for you, Taurus, especially the Sagittarius South Node, where we have to be more detached and released from the space. This might literally mean um, you know either letting go of somebody who has been holding on to your money or helping you with money, or letting go of the money, right? Letting go of the money and being more detached from how somebody's using your money. Let's say you put your money into the stock, or into, somebody who, takes care of your stocks. I'm not sure what they're called. I think I know the title. If you guys know the title, what is the name of the title of somebody who, like, manages all of your investments? Basically, you might just need to let go of the control of how they're using it right now. And I know that might be the hardest thing for you to do, but that South Node is saying to detach from the person that's holding your resources, and just focus on whatever money you have in your wallet, in your bank account, and what are you doing with that money. Maybe you're just focusing too much on somebody else, and you're out here spending money to and fro, and you're wondering why I don't have any money. I think it's because it's somebody else's problem, but it might be more of your spending habits. Okay. So moving on to Gemini rising, this is definitely you. If you're Gemini sun, then this is secondary energy. Let me just take a look. Hi everyone, we got some new people. How long will this aspect be in play? Mars conjunct North Node will be in play for this entire week from the 22nd to the 26th, 27th of March. But North Node in Gemini continues to remain until the end of the year in December. So, regardless, it's still pretty strong energy throughout the rest of the year. We know a lot of Scorpios that are celibate and seemingly at peace with it. Speaking about, sexual uh competition on who's the most sexiest sign, um we have someone here say that there's a lot of Scorpios that they know that are celibate. So look at that, what I'm saying? Like, you really can't categorize a zodiac sign. I mean, you can, but I don't know how much it serves you to say that this zodiac sign is the sexiest, because we all embody, all the zodiac signs, and all the zodiac signs have a way of expressing their sexuality. And what ends up happening is that we have a very one-sided way of experiencing sexuality in life, because we only honor Scorpio and Aries as the sexual top of the line, cream of the crop. And while it makes sense because they are both ruled by Mars, knowing the sexual needs of the other zodiac signs are going to benefit you, because you're not always, dealing with a Scorpio or Aries energy, right? Sometimes you're dealing with Mars energy. Enough of my rant. Peace and love. Okay, we have Tanisha, what's up? I literally woke up to dream a partner having sex with me. Yes, 12th house energy. Yes. Dream learning for, yes, love it, love it, love it. I'm gonna make a plan to have Tanisha Mims join me on a talk soon. We're going to talk about the God Isis movement that I created, sort of collaborated with her to create. But also, what it really is this idea of the mind body connection, understanding the body signatures to the mind, right? Because if we're so mentally pushed, we become very judgmental, critical. We don't move. The body doesn't move. So it's a very important message that I think that we can share. Let's move on to the signs. Okay, so Gemini. Gemini, you have Mars in the North Node in your first house, Gemini rising and Sun secondary. And for you guys, this is going to be a powerful energy. You're going to have a lot of vitality, a lot of physical strength, a lot of sexual energy, right? So your words are going to be really touching people in many ways. And you're going to also be dealing with this ambitious side of you that is really pushing to come out this week. What you have to do is let go and detach from partnerships, detach from the people that you need to rely on to commit to you. I think that you will be able to detach from them, and you'll see the ones that are committed will shine stronger than they have before, because you're not trying to control everything. And the ones that aren't will pretty much just drift and dissipate away. So without you trying to be all up in it, you're actually will be able to be revealed to you what are the right people for you, who are the right people in romance and business for you. And right now, it's a time for you to be your own superhero. It's a time for you to stand in your own square, as we like to say. Speak up for yourselves, talk about your own stories, bring the message that you have to bring, and maybe in a very eloquent way, so that you can, embody the creativity of it. But just your ideas alone will be very exciting and sexy for people, and you should be getting a lot of attention at this time because of you being out in the open, showing your face, showing your body, showing your ideas. um, so for Cancer, this is going to be happening. Cancer rising, right, or Cancer sun secondary, this is going to be happening in your 12th house. And Gemini in the 12th house has a lot to do with these sexy dreams, right? But these dreams are also communications to you, right? It's like a telepathic communicator to you, and you seeing what it is that you are desiring, or what it is that you something's being revealed to you through your dreams. A message is coming through, maybe even from angels and ancestors. There's a lot of messages in your dreams. This could also lead to people who can't sleep because of the Gemini mercurial energy being ignited. This could also be maybe some nights of insomnia, so you want to watch out for all of that. But what you're releasing is this daily schedule that you've been about, and how you've been operating in this daily schedule or the work commitments that you've made. Some of these things just need to be detached, right? You don't, it's not like it's gonna, some of it might go away, some of it won't. And just like I said, these parts will be revealed to you, but you needing to have so much meaning put into it about what works, what doesn't, you having to, just focus so much on making sure your schedule is up to par. You just don't really need to do that too much right now. The focus is on kind of taking a break, taking a little vacation or a little hiatus, taking time to yourself, taking isolated time, meditative time, being alone, um, and kind of being alone with your thoughts, but also maybe in the practice of what thoughts are helpful for me and what thoughts aren't, right? Because when you're in daily action, you kind of maybe may not have that space to really discern for yourself, what do I want to act on? So that's going to be really powerful for Cancer rising, Cancer sun. When we move to Leo rising, especially, but Leo sun secondary, that Gemini energy, the Mars conjunct North Node is going to be in your 11th house. So Leos, this is the fame house, one of the fame houses, the houses that show us your fans and followers. It shows us your supporters. It shows us your friends, but your friends who are more prestigious, who are more like investors in your business or who will help you network, your networking community, right? Social status. These are going to be big things that you're going after. And this could be a very ambitious time for you to want to go after them, which is absolutely okay. But also understand that that Mars Rahu energy is so hungry. Um, it's so hungry for it that it could also leave you miserable. Let's say you're trying to get your first 100 subscribers or whatever, and you do everything you can to do that. It's more of the I'm trying to get them that the North Node and Mars is doing. It's not necessarily the result. So if you don't like your results, detach from your results, okay? Detach from your results. What you're releasing are these maybe these creative ideas that you have had that you've been holding on to. So you might be releasing them in the sense that you've been holding on to some creative ideas, but you haven't done anything with them, and now's the time to do that. It might also mean that it's something else, like you have great creativity but it's just not serving you. Maybe you're doing a hobby that isn't actually in tuned with what really needs to happen here. Maybe so those are some examples, but the biggest thing about that fifth house is also kind of weird, detaching from the joys, right, that you might experience. The other day, a few weeks ago, I wrote about self-soothing and how self-soothing can sometimes be actually a cop out for indulging in certain things. And as a sugar addict, I know what I'm talking about. I'm not trying to criticize anybody, but I did get a little pushback on it because self-soothing is an important thing. Knowing how to soothe yourself in specifically a healthy way is important. So going back to you guys, Leo, I would say that this might be a time, because that fifth house is a place of joy where you may be embodying some sort of self-soothing practices or habits that aren't as helpful for you. So you might want to look at that. One of the things that I pick up for the fifth house, being that it is a fifth house, is gambling, right? That's where the fifth house, that's where gambling belongs. And Leo, you're actually ruler of the fifth house. So definitely I'm picking up some sort of risk taking, some sort of gambling. That might be one of the things, might just be something else like, just a lot of dating, a lot of, having sex with casual partners. This is the fifth house of dating. Things like that that aren't like, it's kind of getting in the way. It's kind of draining you. It's kind of not giving you the ambition, the fuel for the ambition that you need to go after your social status. It might be taking away from certain things. It might be more that you can enjoy these dating people, but don't spend so much time with them. Don't spend so much of your energy into more, right? It kind of detach and allow this energy of creativity and dating to reveal itself to you on what is working, what is useful to you, and who is a great person that you might want to stick around with, and who isn't, and just allowing that feel to you. Okay, moving to Virgo. Virgo rising is the strongest, but Virgo sun is secondary. And for you, Virgo, this is in the 10th house of career. So this will be a time where Virgos are going to be more ambitious about putting themselves out there, about crafting a reputation that they can be proud of, a reputation that really represents who they are. And it's so interesting because it is a mercurial sign, but it is also a sign that squares you, right? So there's this level of who how you want to impress people versus what people actually like from you, that might be in combat, right? So maybe you want to present this more like clean and put together image as a Virgo, but Gemini in the 10th house says that people like it when you're polarizing, people like it when you're a trickster, people like to see the side of you. And maybe you haven't been embodying the side, you've been really focused on family, you've been really focused on traveling with family or just being, connected to your culture, to your heritage. But this North Node conjunct Mars is going to push you out into your career and or at least make you a little bit ambitious this week in wanting to plant new air, new seeds, new things that people could see about you that they haven't seen before. So that's really the energy for you, Virgo rising and Virgo sun. For Libra rising and Libra sun secondarily, okay, this area is happening in your ninth house. It's the complete opposite energy for Libra. So when it comes to your speaking, right, this is actually the place where you might want to be releasing. As I've said, as a Libra rising myself, I'm here doing this live and I'm just talking the whole time, right? While this is important, this is something that might need to be detached. This might be something that you need to release or just have less control over it. Allow yourself to go with the flow. Allow certain people to converse with you, to share their ideas that might even be a little bit different than yours, right? And Libra, the North Node and Mars conjunct in your ninth house is still saying that you got to publish things. It's still saying that you got to go out there and teach, right? Because it's opposite energy. It's so confusing for Libra rising chart because of the opposite energy ruling the opposite energy. So there's still this level of you needing to teach. There's still this level of you needing to access your higher mind, your objectivity on things, right? And you're going to be more ambitious about doing that. You might also be more ambitious about using your sexual energy of Mars in Gemini to publish something about yourself, to publish something about your message. This might be a time when you're really focused on that. So you just got to really release that third house energy. Don't get too wrapped up in the people around you. Don't get too wrapped up in what they're doing, what they think about what you're doing. um, Allow this energy, when you release it and detach from it, to reveal to you who are the people that you want to be around and who are the people that you don't. I think that Libra rising, we have been trying to control in a lot of ways, like what friends I want to be around, what friends I want. You might be really trying to get some friends. You might be really trying to get people to hear you out. Don't worry too much about that. Just worry about publishing your message, and bringing that out. Okay, moving to Scorpio rising. Scorpio rising dominantly, but also Scorpio sun secondarily. This is your eighth house. And look, lo and behold, one of the most sexual signs has Gemini in the eighth house of sex, which means that hot, dirty talk is an important aspect of combining sexual and intimacy. So for Scorpios, I think that this is a very private area for you. You actually very own much so own privacy and protecting of your privacy. But with Gemini here, there's some sort of need for someone to expose your privacy. Will it be you, or will it be a Mars, somebody who embodies Mars, somebody who is like trying to take you out, right? In the sense of, they're fighting with you, and sharing some sort of slander or gossip might be a way that they actually win. um this is also a north nodal thing where it's like maybe you are the north node, maybe someone else is the north node, but they're embodying this idea of success for you, and how being more vulnerable and exposing your vulnerability in one-on-one conversations, in one-on-one interactions with people, can show you where you can open doors and have this it's like you've been restricted with what you can say, even in one-on-one conversations. And this is a chance for you to really actually be open, be able to say what you really mean, to not try to cover things up or skirt around it or gaslight it, and also for you to not be somebody gaslight you, right? This is a chance for you to deal with those intimate conversations and really aggressively go after them. With the South Node in Sagittarius, this is about letting go of what you have and what you own. You might be detaching from certain possessions. You might be detaching from certain ways that you've made money, in the sense that either you are letting possessions go and you're giving them away, or you're just not being so possessive over your own shit. You know what I'm saying? But it's a chance for you to be more in tune with other people and their needs and their possessions and their resources, and combining yourself with other people and their needs and their possessions, which is something that you are naturally good at, but maybe have just not been focusing and emphasizing that. And the North Node has been showing you that Mars this week is going to push you to see that if you don't do this, then people is going to have stuff to say, and it's going to be a misunderstood message. It's going to be a contorted message, and you don't want that, because then you're going to have to go and handle that. And then we don't want to get anybody hurt right now. Okay. All right, so moving to Sagittarius rising, and Sagittarius sun secondarily. This is happening in your seventh house. This is a place where we're dealing with maybe a one-on-one interaction with a marriage partner or business partner, in which we're really at odds with each other. You can both see each other, you can both see what the person is doing. So because it's oppositional energy, it's like, I see what you're doing, they're like, I see what you're doing, right? That energy is very apparent, but maybe unwilling to change for the other, or unwilling to do something that makes it better, that makes it more harmonious. So that's the challenge for you guys. That's a challenge. I'm not saying this is what's going to happen. I'm saying that's the challenge. So what are you going to do, Sag? What are you going to do? All right, I'm your astrologer. I'm not, the dictator of your life. You decide what you're going to do with that energy. Now the North Node here does deal with this energy in a different way, because if Mars was here alone, it would just be a throwdown, right? But with the North Node here, it's saying, well, we got to figure out how to actually make this either a commitment that we're going for, or a commitment that we don't need. Basically, you're supposed to go towards these people, these one-on-one people who are kind of in it for the real haul. You're supposed to go towards these people, try to understand them, try to see where the confusion is, try to open up the conversations to more questions. The questions and conversations is big for Sag. And especially because it can lead to more bickering if we're not really just curious about, well, why is it that people operate in the way that I don't understand or don't see? This is very difficult for Sagittarius placements, because you guys are typically the penetrator, the ones who are giving and delivering the ideas, teaching the ideas. And that doesn't have to change, but it does have to be released in a way in which, be detached from having to preach, be detached from having to teach people. Even if you're doing it, just don't try to control, like, they're not getting it, let me give it to them again. Just try to let it go. Once you've said something, it's almost like just put it in the air, and where it lands, it will land for people or it won't, versus trying to really get your message across, which may lead to a deep, misunderstanding. Really, the North Node is saying to ask questions. Again, ask questions. The South Node in your sign, Sag, is saying, let go of what you think your identity is, what you're trying to prove about yourself. You don't have anything to prove, Sag. People see you, they honor you, they adore you. The people that don't, you will be able to see that clearly. And this is South Node and Sag, I think, can be a difficult placement. South Node and any of the fire signs can be difficult, because the fire signs are about presence, or about being, heard, seen. They don't even try to force it. It is what it is. So how do you dim your fire? That's not a message that I'm really trying to say, but it is about understanding that it's going to be a challenge for you to, you know, to be more receptive. Okay. And are you willing to take that challenge? That's the real question here. Moving to Capricorn rising, Capricorn is, or Capricorn sun, you guys are having this in the sixth house of work. Okay. And the sixth house of work is where we deal with our lifestyle, excuse me, deal with our lifestyle, deal with our scheduling. It's where we, go to the doctor, check in on our appointments, check in on our health. And so the North Node is saying, Capricorn, that you really got to focus on this area, that this has been where you haven't been as organized, haven't been as on top of your health, haven't been, just taking care of yourself. And the South Node is in this place of hiatus, taking a vacation, of putting things off, of just being by yourself. So it's a time right now, especially this week, where more people are going to probably be in your day-to-day schedule, just because you're just not enough around, you're not around enough people. There might be more assertive, aggressive people, just showing themselves out, showing them who they want to be, and it can inspire you or it can threaten you, make you feel more like they're criticizing you, they're judging you for what you do or what you don't do. It really depends on which path of Mars you want to choose. Do you want to choose the path of Mars of creativity and sexual bonds with people, or do you want to choose the path of assertion and fighting, fighting for yourself or whatever? So, what you're releasing are these, isolated places. What you're releasing are these, like, you know, this tomb that you've put yourself in, and this hiatus of not, of working when you want or whatever, or not working at all, or things like that. Um, so it, as a Capricorn energy, you are a hard worker naturally. But there is something here that you've been putting off that really needs your attention in your work. And now's not the time to consider getting a vacation. Let the vacation time show and reveal itself to you when it's time to take that hiatus. But the ambition is strong this week. And if you're not in the game, you might lose some great opportunities. Remember that where the North Node is where opportunities can flourish if you go towards it. Okay, so moving to Aquarius, Aquarius rising or Aquarius sun, secondarily, you guys have Saturn and Jupiter working their magic in you. You're dealing with, a lot of karma coming back and forth towards you. People dealing with people, a lot of pressure, right? We also dealing with a lot of abundance at the same time. This is a trine energy to you, so it's very harmonious. And specifically, the Saturn in your sign is going to be trining the North Node. So this week, and I'm sorry, especially Mars and the North Node. So Saturn this week is going to help you to deal with certain things. And this for you is this area of creativity. Right? This is a week where you're going to push yourself to work a little bit harder, and you don't have to work so fast as Mars wants to move fast, but Saturn is trining Mars beautifully, because these two actually work very well together as well, creating success through letting go of instant gratification and just doing the work, just doing the hustle, enjoying the process. Um, so I see Aquarius stepping up this week and taking more ownership, taking more responsibility for creativity, for children, for dating. So you might be being a dater who's more serious, right? Being more serious about who you're dating and why, what your intentions are with these people, and also having fun doing it, right? This also is at the time where you might be working on some sort of big sort of project, something that is like a film versus, a little mini YouTube series, something bigger than life. So I really encourage Aquarius right now to take the reins right now, because there's so much energy in your sign. There's so much energy supporting your sign with this transit. The thing that you have to let go of, though, are your, ideas of what it means for you to be socially successful, because there's something about that that's wrapped into a culture that's dying out, Aquarius. And this is your house, but Sagittarius rules it. And the South Node is like, look, let it go, detach from what is socially acceptable. Okay. Especially you, Aquarius, because you're all about what's socially acceptable. You're old air. Old air doesn't mean anything wrong. It means that you know what works, you know what has worked, and you know what works. But right now we're looking at what's new to work. And you're embodying what is new for you. Okay. So that's the biggest thing. Let's move to Pisces rising or Pisces sun secondarily. And Pisces, you guys got a lot of planets in your sign right now, too. Even though the sun has moved out, you still have, I'm saying a lot. It's actually two planets, but they're strong. Mercury is in your sign, right? And Neptune is in your sign. Neptune is a big, important thing to look at because Neptune does square this energy. Right now, it is not squaring it, but it eventually will. So for Pisces, this happens in an area of the chart that has to do with family and Mercury, Gemini energy being the broadcaster, right, has a lot to do with how you communicate about your family. And that's really where Mars and North Node is pushing you to be, how you communicate to your family members and how you communicate about your family members. You may be considering writing a blog, writing a book about being a parent or about your children or about your home or your heritage. These might be certain things that you're really big on. And this week might showcase to you what you really want and being ambitious about it. So you really want to go for it as much as you can. And you want to release the parts of you that are so about your reputation, right? Don't worry about crafting the perfect reputation because, like Aquarius, the 10th and the 11th house, you're letting go of what you think a reputation is supposed to look like. So you're detaching from it. You're not saying, I don't care about it. You're just detaching from the control of it, which frees you to actually truly express yourself to your family members about your family and will give you what you really want in the career house through going into the roots, into the foundations of who you are, where you come from, what you're building with your family. Okay, you guys, so that is going through the houses. I hope you guys enjoyed this talk. Good morning. Elements of Life just said Venus is just finished watching Venus is not as feminine as you think part 2. Yes, so definitely check that out. Thank you guys so much for the support that you give on this channel. I really appreciate it. If you like what you heard today, share it with somebody who you think would appreciate it as well. And stay tuned for the next live. I'll see you guys very soon. Peace and love.